Hello folks, so I'm going to take you through the step of my computer case change over here. Right here I've got the showing the temperatures and an app that is called, as I get to it here, Adia64. Yes, Adia64 is an application you can get free or buy it for a few dollars. And if you have a keyboard that has a display like this, you can get it to display, as you see here, processor temperatures, how long your system's been running, free hard drive space, and so forth and so forth. As you can see here are my CPU, motherboard, and GPU temperatures. As you can see here as well, I have only 5.51 gigs of hard drive space left on my SSD. Again, another reason why I need a bigger SSD drive. And again, as I was saying before, 2016 is going to be the year to get more affordable, larger SSD drives. So, anyways, with that said, I'm just going to randomly record some stuff. Not give you a full detail through the process, but give you an idea on what's going on in it. As I drop my camera. So, anyways, I look scruffy and everything else. I'm dressed in my junky stuff for this. The current time is about 12:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday morning. I don't anticipate that I'm going to be doing this straight through. I'm venturing to guess that the overall probably 3 steps that I'm going to need to do is going to take probably over a 12-hour span, roughly, including sleep time. So we'll roughly say 4 to 6 hours, give or take, because sometimes you actually have to figure out the cabling and stuff. The first part will be actually taking the panels off, powering the system down, removing cables, except for to leave the power cable connected to the outlet. Keep that connected at all times until you have to remove the last power cable from your motherboard. That way your motherboard and your system is always grounded at all times. Okay, that said, here's basically the computer system. My current tower that you guys see me all recording to and whatnot. This tower will eventually be going for sale on the used market for whatever I can get for it to basically pay for a video card or sound card update. Here you can see there's blue lights from the top case fans. That you're looking at right now is the Hyper 212 CPU cooler, which is cooling my AMD FX 8350 processor. And of course you can see some junk, or if I shine it down here, probably not. Oh, actually you can see it here. And here you can see the 2 top case fans, and at the end there a tray. Now a lot of this stuff here actually will be coming off, delatching as well too. Another thing to remember as well too when you're doing this, always keep your leftover case screws or any individual components that come off of it. in this case, with this computer case and the one that stuff will be going into, it has removable drive cages, which you will see later when I open up the case. So with that said, let me hit stop for here and record the inside of the case. Alright, so here we are on to the next step. Again, when you actually put together a computer system, or are doing in the case of transferring parts from one case to the other, don't be afraid to actually keep your manuals around, because you will need them as a reference at some point in time. Also, other things you might need, again, like spare screws or whatnot, also come in handy. Also, when you get to the point of you actually start removing the stuff from the case and the tower, or in the case of, there's usually a screw that goes there, a little thumb screw, and another one down here. This is the back of the case. You can see my mess here as well too. This is the back of the fan blowing, and I don't know how well you can see it on camera here, but you can't see it too well, but you can actually see how dust can build up on these cases, especially if you have pets and you're not cleaning very well. Well, actually, I shouldn't necessarily say that, but pets in general. You might want to consider probably having a case with a better filtration system, or having your case up somewhere that it won't draw in dust from the airflow. So I haven't shut down my computer yet, just so I can show you guys more in regards to the system. So because I already have these screws off, as I showed you, there's a little handle on this one, and you just pull it back and off it comes. Again, you can see dust build up in some of these instances here on even the inside of the case panel. Again, here you can mount additional inlet fans for over your case. 80, 90, 120 millimeter and 140 millimeter sized fans. Another important thing as well too, when you're actually going to be taking anything off of your computer or out of your computer, and if you don't have a static guard, find a bare piece of metal, even like up here there's even a piece of metal or something around the case. Actually, here's a prime example here, how dust buildup can get in the case. That's why you should, on average, clean your case about, give it a good blow once every 2-3 months, optimally once a month. I haven't done mine in a while, so it's apparent because somehow, as you probably can just faintly make out here, I somehow have a web in here, which isn't good. it's important to keep dust out of the case, especially over areas like here, and down around this part here is a chipset cooler as well too. Most motherboards have two chipset coolers. More so these fins here on this side of where your processor sits right here. This is vitally important to keep clear, as this is usually where the caps are, which are providing the power to your computer, to your processor and your motherboard, and making sure everything runs. So again, this is the inner workings of a computer system. Here you see 4 modules of 4 gig modules of RAM, populating the RAM slots. This up here is probably a reset button. Fan headers. Actually, you can see a bit of that in there. Normally, most fans come like this, with no color thing. Actually, let me just find something. This case has a additional light up LED light. And this is another larger fan as well too that I got to bring air in. Okay, again, in most newer cases, your power supply sits on the bottom. Probably best not to touch the power supply while it's on, like I just did. Make sure your computer is totally shut off, and your back switch back here is clicked on, or clicked off, that it's only just plugged in but not on. Again, we have, this is a Zeus sonar, that's XODARDX sound card. It actually requires an external power connector, so that's what this is. This is actually a LAN card, a D-Link LAN card. This is a video card, again my Radeon 7870. Again, this is a Cooler Master Hyper 2112 radiator CPU cooler. Again, it uses one 120mm fan here, but the clipping mechanism, you can actually mount another one to make it that the air flows in the one side and the other fan on this side gets sucked in. In regards to up in the top here, as you can see the blue LED lit exhaust fans. Exhaust fans normally go in the top and usually out the side. The fans usually down in the bottom of the computer tower, like in the front, is usually an inlet. If you put your hand here, you could feel actually a cool breeze. And same thing here down the bottom is usually an inlet fan as well too. So with that said, again, when you have the system off and you begin to start unscrewing stuff, always make sure to ground yourself on a bare piece of metal to release any static charge that might be built up. Also, when you're at this point in time where you're actually pulling the parts out of the system, make sure to put things together, what goes where. Just as some people might do, put screws in a tray or whatever. If you have the existing boxes for the stuff, maybe just use like an open box or something and put the part in it and the screw in it that goes with it as well too. Again, I'm gonna have to pull everything out, unscrew every little screw. Like down in here there's a screw that holds the motherboard in place to the you can see it here as well too. Another one here. Have to unscrew them all to the motherboard mounts to make sure that they before I can pull the motherboard off. And in the case of the remove the two applicable case fans in the top, this plastic piece here in this instance, this has a plastic shell on the top and front pieces. The actual main part of the chassis is actually metal. So with that said, I will shut this off, shut down the computer, and start the process. Again, currently it is 1 a.m. I took a little bit of a break, so I'll pause the video for now and get this shut down and start pulling everything out. Oh, again, before I actually turn this off, when you're talking about the main motherboard power connector cable, that's actually right here. This is the last cable you want to take off the motherboard before you actually pull it away from the standoffs in the inside of the tower. There's another little power connector up here you can see for additional power supply. Power going to the processor down here in the socket that you can just barely make out here. Again, this is a AMD AM3 Plus motherboard, so if anyone's curious what kind of processor and motherboard it is. Also before I stop, when you take the components out, this is actually an essential time to clean them off, get any dust buildup or residue, as you can kind of see on some of the processor and as I got off the side of the case. Whatever you do, don't use water. If you're going to use any type of liquid, you want to use 100% rubbing alcohol, super like 80-90% plus alcohol to do it. Little brushes that will remove the debris. Optimally, you want to buy a can of CO2 aerosol electric air cleaner or canned air cleaner from some type of electronics store. That is the best way to clean out these cases and your components. Worst case scenario, you can use a shop vac, but it is not ideal because it can build up static electricity, which again can pooch your component. Components like your capacitors and such in here. Same thing on dust buildup. Dust buildup is not good in a computer system. Same thing as if you smoke around your computer systems. Your tar from your cigarettes will actually get built up on the components. Dust, tar, any type of film that sticks to it can build up heat and kill your hardware quicker than what it normally would die. So with that said, now I will stop the video and continue on with the process. Folks, we've hit 1:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Another little bit of an update on things. This plastic package here that components come into is very important. because then you can put the product back in it, whether you have to return it for repair or you do happen to try to sell it retail or pass it down to someone else. Another big note, the fins you see here at the bottom, whatever you do, try to avoid touching them because it can actually affect the pin and prevent it from working, especially if they get some type of static charge, or if you got some type of oil or something on your hands and it gets on there. It definitely can vitally affect the card. And as you can kind of see here, a teeny weeny bit, yes, there is some build up, and as I go over here, there definitely was a lot of build up, and there still is a fair amount. Okay, and now I've gotten the slots out. I'll take another short second to explain things. This is what is called a PCI slot. This is called a PCI Express slot. Notice the two different shapes. These are mainly for current or future computer components. Video cards, mainly video cards, sound cards, and they do now actually have hard drives that are actually on daughter cards that can go into one of these slots and work. Whatever you do, do not try to jam this component into here. For example, this connector. As you can see here, goes into the slot. Whatever you do, do not put it in this slot or remove any of these pins or anything here on the bottom. Only put it in the appropriate slot. Again, also when you're taking these cards out, I'll just put this back in just to give people an idea. Well, I can't put it back in because I've already done the thing, but anyways, when you're removing these cards out of these slots, don't force them in hard, just be very gentle, and you want to pull straight up and put it straight down into the slot until it feels like it's level. These are PCI Express one-time slots, and you can see sometimes they're marked out on the board. Oh, you can hear me wheezing because of the dust that was built up. Again, this is the south bridge of the set heatsink I was telling you about before. These are serial ATA connectors that you plug your serial ATA hard drives, DVD drives, optical drives, and so forth into. Again, 4 slots of RAM filled up, cooler from side angle. Again, more better due to the heat sinks. In some instances, it's not necessarily vital to take the cooler totally off of the motherboard, which, as you can see here, is a little bit kind of a pain in the ass because you gotta screw it into place. But some instances you might be just simply better off to pull the cable off up here. There's a little connector cable there. pull that off, and in the case of this one, there's just a little clip, and you can see that's the other side of the cooler, and as you can see, the dust buildup. And buildup like that on coolers will affect how cool your processor is. Plus, it's a good idea again to take it off and give your RAM and the components around your processor chip a bit of a cleaning as well. Just be on the safe side. Again, here's the upper fans that will be coming out and going into the other tower, obviously. This computer tower only came with the front fan and the rear fan when you buy it. Sometimes if you want more cooling and airflow throughout your system, you want to buy the additional fans to help. So again, probably this is the second last thing you disconnect. These are all headers on your power button, your reset button to turn it all on. These are probably some of the last things you want to remove. Sometimes, if you're lucky, motherboard manufacturers actually do these cool little coating things that you can actually put the headers in properly and put it back onto your motherboard accordingly. And once you take your motherboard, once you take all these individual little screws out of your motherboard, then you can pull the motherboard chassis off, pull it carefully away out from the back of the tower, and then pull it out. And then your last thing to do is to unscrew your power supply from the usually 4 screws or whatever back here, and remove it last. Then all you have to do is pop the in this case I gotta pop the front panel off. As you can see here, it just pops off. As easy as that. And there's the front of the case. Then all I gotta do is pop off that top piece after, and it'll be ready to go. And I'll have to do that to access the screws that are holding the fan in place. Okay, so again, with all my talking, it's about 1:30 now. As you can tell with the amount of dust that I have built up in here, it's quite a bit. Again, when pulling anything into the case, find the bare steel of the tower, or find some other form of bare steel, touch it, and then touch the component you're going to remove. So that way you're not shooting it with static electricity and possibly destroying it. Alright, I'll stop for now. Alright folks, now you can see the nice rat nest of, this is what a serial ATA cable looks like. This is actually 2 of them. But you can see the nice lovely rat nest that I have to sort through. And there's the rest of the stuff that normally plugs in. So anyways, I thought while this is coming out, people would be curious to see. You're wondering how big an SSD drive is. Well, there's what a solid state drive looks like. That's my Mushin Chronos Deluxe. 120 gig. That small. That should give you an idea on how small it is. fits in my hand. I think this is a 1.8 inch one. They do make bigger ones that are the size of hard drive cages, but anyways, these are all the connectors I still got to go through. Still got to take the fans off, and as you can see, there is quite a bit of dust buildup, and I'm definitely wheezing already. But once those are off, I'll give the tower a good cleanup and put back together. But so all it is just simply a clip here. Yeah, dust. The dust was that bad. So anyways, yeah, that's things so far. Again, the time is about 1:52. Here is the system up and going. It's about 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The case is open at the moment, and just showing the system temperatures. I started back at cleaning the other tower and cleaning all the parts at about 8 o'clock this morning, 8:30. Eventually I started throwing everything back together around 11. And now I'm finally gotten to the point of the system is up and running. So, with that said, there's the internal, the two fans running at a lower setting. This case features a 3-speed fan controller in the front. Again, top of the case, there's actually 3 spaces here that if you actually take out the optical drive bay here, you can actually run a triple rad, they call it. Also, I've taken the door, there's the front here, and I have switched it to open the other side, installed my black optical drive. Again, this is the fan controller here that controls the fan speed. I have it set up to control the front fan intake and the 2 top fans. So as you'll see here, the light will actually get brighter on the top LED fans when I actually kick up the speed. Which I thought was kind of interesting when I did it like that. So it is noticeably quieter than the other tower. Now I will try to carefully turn it around here to the other side, and we can see here the not so pretty job. It's still clumped together, but it's everything routed properly, and it's pretty good so far. I'm now going to stop the video, and I am going to put the sides back on and finish connecting the rest of the stuff, and then I will do another video here now that I have the system up and going and got the room to record stuff here on my cell phone, and that will be now. Great, we have fully simulation. This is at the low setting. It's been probably about 10 years since I've had a windowed case. It's definitely very, I guess you could say in a sense it's very E-penis-like, as the term goes. I have the fans and the two top fans and the front inlet fan on low at the moment. I'll reach in here and flip it on to there's medium, and here is high. And I'm not sure how well you can hear, but you can definitely hear the substantial air difference. And you can see the bit of the brightness despite everything not being color matched. So I'll leave it on high. Don't mind the shaky camera. And here we go again. The front. This blue light here. Let us de-virginize it further. So the little blue light here, I don't think you can see it strobing, but every time the hard drive is accessed, the little, it blinks. So again, that's the power reset. Headphones I don't have attached, and I don't have either of the USBs attached. Here is the top of the case. With the proper one of the covers on right, and the two fans in place. As you can see, you can move the fans different or put in a wider water cooler, which is nice. And again, here's the back of the case. So, with that said, I will move it back into place. And again, I must say it's rather nice. Go back to the my dirty keyboard, and don't mind the mess here. Again, we see the CPU core is actually being reported at 12 Celsius from the previous readings, and the GPU as well has gone down in temperature to 46. So anyways, that's it for pretty much stuff in a nutshell. I did unfortunately have some recorded footage that did not get copied right, or did not get viewed right on the cell phone when I was recording it. So in case of a summary, basically all you need is a Phillips head screwdriver. I believe that's the Phillips or the star head. Small size. The larger tip, because these screws do offer different kind of head types. Flathead screwdriver isn't necessarily a necessity, but it is a big thing to have around just in case. And lastly, it doesn't hurt to have some needle nose pliers around in case you can't get into something, but it's not ideal. One of the nice little benefits I would say as well about this case with the Fractal case is they actually included a little teeny weeny nib / tip tool that allowed you to put the motherboard mounts into place. It was a lot easier to do that than trying to use some type of wrench, or even say like the little needle nose pliers. That said, that's pretty much the case for now. So hope you enjoy the little show on how I put the case into place. Definitely looks odd with white, because I'm used to normally black. So with that said, catch you later, folks.